Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Sarah Brewer with your news from around the Columbia Basin for Friday, June 7th. Tonight we'll review some of the top stories for this week along with a few of your favorites. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. One of our top stories this week was about some new police and fire chiefs. The new emergency services leaders were celebrated on Thursday. Here with a story is Ryan Lancaster.
The Manawa Police Department, please welcome Chief Carlos Madrigal.
One after another, 8 Grant County public safety agencies went through a change of the guard on Thursday. The 12th annual Chief for a Day event was held on the front lawn of the Grant County Courthouse in Ephrata. Agency heads presented plaques to some special Grant County kids who made a pretty spectacular entrance, featuring a full motorcade that raced through town. The new chiefs were sworn in by Grant County Superior Court judges as family and friends looked on. The annual event is sponsored by the Thomas A. Boroff Foundation, an Ephrata-based nonprofit focused on assisting special needs children in the U.S. and Mexico.
She wants to say one thing to her family.
I would like to say one thing. This is the happiest moment of my life.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
And a longer version of that story will be online at our website, ifiber.com/news. The Soap Lake City Council is providing support for a few other children, ones that are soapbox derby racers. Here with the story is Spencer Graham.
The Soap Lake Soapbox Derby topped the agenda at Wednesday's council meeting, as city leaders and Soap Lake for Locals teamed up to honor the event's organizers and announce a fundraising effort for 2 boxcar national qualifiers. The 2 boxcar champions rolled their way to victory in divisional races. 8-year-old Kayla Dawn Rhodes won in stocks, and 9-year-old Jandy Jr. Castello won in super stocks. This was the first year the Soap Lake Derby was sanctioned, meaning the 2 kids have the chance to move on to the national races in Akron, Ohio next month.
In coming years, our Soap Lake Soapbox Derby is going to become a significant regional event.
And we're trying to figure out and trying to get some sponsors to where we can send these kids back to Akron, Ohio.
But they'll need some help getting there. Hotel costs alone were estimated to be over $2,000, not including transportation and other expenses for a week-long stay. Anyone who'd like to contribute to the fund can mail checks payable to BSA Troop 44 to Road 20 Northwest, Soap Lake, Washington. More information is available by calling 509-246-1026. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Spencer Graham reporting with Ryan Lancaster.
Thank you, Spencer. If you've ever had to call 911, you might have wondered how they operate. Ryan Lancaster got a chance to go behind the scenes to see how Mac does it.
Most people know that calling 911 means help will be on its way soon. But what happens in those critical moments between dialing the digits and the arrival of emergency services? All emergency calls placed in Grant County since 1995 have been dispatched by the Multi-Agency Communications Center, or MAC. Last month, MAC dispatchers Justin Rowland and Helen Terry visited the Soap Lake School District to talk to students about what their job entails.
So what we're here today is to talk about 911, what we're here for.
Assisted by Soap Lake Mayor Raymond Gravel and local emergency services personnel, the dispatchers had students role-play a couple of scenarios to show what goes on behind the scenes of a 911 call.
Ring, ring.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
In an open field between baseball diamonds.
Terry said the most important lessons they want kids and other callers to learn is to know their location and stay on the line.
Even if you don't know the address or the cross streets, if you know what's around you, a lot of times we can send somebody to help.
Back at the MAC Dispatch Center, securely located in the Moses Lake Armory, Terry shows us around the dispatch floor, where anywhere from 3 to 5 people are on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Okay, well, an officer has already been dispatched, and just go ahead and call us back immediately if anything changes or you have further information, okay?
Hundreds of calls a day are fielded and dispatched to 2 law frequencies and 2 fire frequencies.
100, 150 calls up to 300 and some calls a day. So, and that's just calls for service that we put in. That's not how many calls we take.
Terry explains that every one of those callers gets asked a series of standardized questions depending on the situation.
So that whether they're brand new dispatchers or they've been here since we opened, everybody asks the same questions.
The job of a dispatcher can be stressful, and dispatchers undergo an extensive screening and training process.
Usually that's with a trainer. You sit with them for calls, and then you sit with them for radio before you're ever released to be out on your own.
MAC is currently undergoing some changes. Former Director Mary Allen left the position in March, replaced by Interim Director Millie Tirapelli.
I just retired from Rivercom, which is in Chelan, Douglas County, the 911 center there. And so I was available and could fill this position on a temporary basis.
She and MAC's board of directors have narrowed down a list of 17 applicants for the permanent director position, and 4 candidates will be interviewed by a panel of board members and MAC users.
And then hopefully we'll be able to choose a couple candidates from that who will be referred to the board, the actual voting board, and they'll interview that candidate. So we're expecting that probably around the 1st of August or so we'll have someone on board.
For more information on MAC, visit mac911.org.
The biggest thing is just know your location and stay on the phone. Just because we're asking you questions doesn't mean someone else isn't telling the officer or the firefighter or the paramedic where they need to go to help you.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Each of the people you see here has warrants for their arrest and is wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks that you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call the police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. And we'll be back after these messages with the latest from our iFIBER 1 Weather Center and more news.